What are we hearing?
Musiquita.
The countdown.
Oh, it's the countdown. Oh, you've started it. Oh.
We have a show to do.
Yeah,
Did you
I
forget?
was going to say.
Wake up, Al.
Well, good evening, everybody. And we are off to the races. I'm going to read everybody.
Everybody.
Table.
Everybody's
I'm gonna
getting
start
read.
with Faye. What?
Always. Isn't it always with me?
And Dan Rios from Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau
Yes.
is here.
And Mr. Giminez is
I know,
in the
I
house.
know.
The Outshine Film Festival. We can't wait for you to come back
Yes.
and have in person and online. It's going to be great. We need some films and some events.
Always.
We need some naked men on film.
Florida.
Throw in some women too.
That's right. Well, welcome to Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only LGBTQ+ daily evening news. It's time to queer up the news. It's 8 p.m. Wednesday, September 1st, 2021, and we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we are going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
Hello, and thank you for joining Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ+ evening news show. Whatever happens, you will see it. Queer News Tonight is supported by viewers like you. We are part of the Happening Out television network, Hotspots Magazine, and WMEG Events. Hotspots is celebrating 35 years of the LGBTQ+ experience, and merged, we bring you the best of LGBTQ+ news, entertainment, and support of our LGBTQ+ community.
Well, this evening we bring you the news of and a perspective representing the LGBTQ community from South Florida, America, and across our planet. I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, at Queer News Tonight, and let's begin by welcoming anchor Faye. What? She is a radio and television personality and has the popular blog and YouTube channel aiming to unite the L and the G together. She's a hostess and MC for many South Florida events, an animal advocate and owner of Faye's Fur Family, and is the anchor of the travel news show Happening Out.Travel. Also, make sure to catch the Faye What Show Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Good evening, Faye.
Good evening, everyone. And if you missed the Kitty Meow show yesterday, make sure that you find it and watch it, because I was on it and it was fantabulous.
You know, speaking of that, let's show, because you were on it, this little preview of the opening of this new entertainment show called The Kitty Meow Show. Watch this.
Left, right, center. Left, right, center. Left, right, center. Center. You're gonna rise. Rise, 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 You're gonna rise.
Faye, tell everybody who was singing there.
Oh, that was Power Infinity,
Power Infinity
right?
and Kevin Aviance.
Yes.
And Kitty Meow.
And Kitty Meow.
Right.
I love that song. I was
Right.
totally rocking to it. So if you missed it, make sure that you catch it, okay? It's live. You could stream it and you could watch it at any time. Kitty Meow, right? It's going to be every Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Fantabulous. Next, let's welcome anchor Dan Rios. He's the director of LGBTQ+ marketing for the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, the official destination marketing organization for Greater Miami and the beaches, joining their marketing and tourism division in 2002. Dan is considered one of America's top experts on LGBTQ+ travel and tourism. Welcome, Dan.
Thank you, Faye. So great to be here. And please visit Miami LGBTQ for the latest on what's happening in September. We have Miami Beach Pride coming back this month, among a lot of other things. So check it out.
Yay.
Now, let's welcome anchor Victor Giminez. His passion and love of classical films drove him to the gay Miami Gay and Lesbian Film Festival Screening Committee in 2011. With some behind the scenes under his belt, he became the executive director that was what is now the Outshine LGBTQ Film Festival. Today, he is still an active member in art-based and LGBTQ plus nonprofit organizations in Miami philanthropic community. Welcome, Victor.
Thank you, Dan, very much. And a real quick, nice plug. The Outshine Film Festival is coming to Fort Lauderdale for our 13th annual Miami edition, October 14th through the 24th. Opening night's going to be at the IMAX at the Museum of Discovery and Science. Then we're going to be at the Gateway and Savor Cinema the rest of the time. And then we're actually having our closing night here where we're broadcasting from at the Sunshine Cathedral. So any more information, please check out outshinefilm.com. Thank you. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Wednesday, September 1st.
Well, we began by queering up health. Johnson & Johnson's HIV vaccine fails clinical trials in a devastating setback. Pink News is reporting an experimental HIV vaccine developed by Johnson & Johnson has failed at clinical trial stage in a devastating setback to HIV and AIDS research. A mid-stage study called Imbokodo found that the vaccine's efficacy at prevention of HIV transmission was just 25.2%. The National Institutes of Health said in a press release. The Phase 2b proof of concept study enrolled 2,637 women between the ages of 18 and 35 across 5 African countries, where young women account for 60% of new HIV cases. While the vaccine was found to be safe with no serious adverse effects, it also produced a low immune response in the study and the study participants. Women who took part in the clinical trial were randomly assigned either a placebo or the real version of the vaccine. And when the study began in November of 2017, researchers found that 63 women who received the placebo and 51 who received the vaccine went on to contract HIV.
Can I say that this sucks? Like, it has not been a good year for Johnson & Johnson, you know? First, the COVID-19 vaccine is not that great. It sucked. Sorry if you got it, people. Get that booster. And now this. Like, this is like some serious stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's supposed to show you, I mean, the placebo did, you know, almost as, you know, the placebo wasn't as good as obviously the vaccine, but the vaccine wasn't much better than the placebo.
20-something percent, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? It's definitely not good news, and it's a setback. It's pretty amazing that we're actually doing tests on, you know, for a vaccine, and the Moderna vaccine actually looks pretty promising with the technology that they use for the COVID-19. So it all builds on, you know, on itself.
The study results here are really devastating in the HIV and AIDS community. I read a bulletin that AHF posted on it in their disappointment. You know, the United States government, the World Health Organization has a commitment for no new HIV transmission, no new contracting of HIV by 2030. But this was a big setback in terms of the timeline of thought of where we all thought we were going to be.
Next, let's queer up religion. These 10 religious universities earned high marks for LGBTQ inclusivity. On Monday's episode of Queer News Tonight, we reported briefly on the Campus Pride Best of the Best report of the top 30 most LGBTQ plus friendly colleges and universities in the United States, who all ranked a perfect 5 on their ranking system. Now NBC News is reporting on the 10 religious schools that Campus Pride recognized for living up to LGBTQ plus inclusive values. Some religious institutions in the 2021 list did score a perfect 5 on the Campus Pride Index. Minneapolis, Augsburg University, affiliated with the Evangelical Lutheran Church, Guilford College, a Quaker school in Greensboro, North Carolina, and Virginia Wesleyan University, historically affiliated with the United Methodist Church. Emory University in Atlanta, and Willamette University in Salem, Oregon, both affiliated with the United Methodist Church, earned a 4.5. Others had slightly more modest grades. Jesuit Catholic schools, Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., Gonzaga University in Spokane, Washington, and Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles. Southern Methodist University in Dallas, and Lebanon Valley College, a Methodist school in central Pennsylvania, all earned a 4.
I was actually impressed how well the Jesuit schools actually did. 4 is not bad, it's considering the history of the Jesuits. So way to go, Georgetown.
Yeah, I love Georgetown too.
Yeah, no, it's great that they're actually doing these and providing these rankings, because back in my day, we would just go to art school.
Yeah, right.
Go to drama class.
Absolutely.
Right?
It'd be great in theater.
Yeah, the inclusivity is fantastic. People just have this stupid thought that because we are LGBTQ, we don't want to be religious, or we don't have a spiritual home, or we don't want to go to a religious college. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. So I love that these schools are doing the extra measures, making sure that we feel included, and then also ranking their best.
We broadcast from Sunshine Cathedral in our permanent set studio here, and the number one thing that I get from the South Florida LGBTQ community is generally a pushback on religion and church.
Yeah.
So we couldn't pass up reporting this story that even centric religious universities and colleges can be very progressive in LGBT. But there's good news here and bad news. The good news is that a state like Kentucky had 2 of the top 30 schools in embracing LGBT, which is really a shock. Northern Kentucky and the University of Kentucky, neither one are a religious school. The bad news is we didn't have a single college or university in the state of Florida.
Not one. Not one.
One.
Wow.
And how sad is that on a reflection of Florida when the Quakers make the list and the Sunshine State doesn't?
Wow.
Nada.
Wow. And on that, let's queer up sports. Robyn Lambird is the first trans athlete to medal at Paralympics. Pride.com has reported that Australian athlete Robyn Lambird made history over the weekend by earning the bronze medal in the women's 100-meter T34 wheelchair sprint at the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. This marks the first time an out trans athlete has medaled at the Paralympics, and they are only the second trans and non-binary person in history to medal at either Olympics or Paralympics. The first was Quinn, who took home the gold in Canada women's soccer at this year's Olympics. For Lambird, who finished just behind Hannah Cockcroft and Care Adigan of Great Britain, it was the culmination of a lot of hard work, training, and dreaming. They said, quote, "It is my first Paralympic Games. It's been almost a 10-year dream to be here and win a medal among the best in the world. It's awesome. I just want to show all the kids out there with disabilities or not, if you have a dream, chase it. There's always a way you can find it," end quote.
What a fantastic story.
It's also just been great, all the out athletes coming out at the Olympics and also just in the main professional sports in the United States. I think the first out football player was just drafted in the NFL. I mean, there's a lot of good news being for representation, and also just for like kids growing up that you're seeing all these people in sports being out athletes.
Visibility, right? Visibility. And did you see her? They made their chair fly. I mean, I've never seen a wheelchair go that fast. I mean, it was incredible.
And they're a model. So they represent a lot of brands and really spectacular looking.
And to Victor's point, and here, watch me prove this point. This is sports, Dan. These are people who throw balls around. See?
Not those balls. Not those balls.
You got me excited there.
You say juggle.
Right, juggle. Okay, right. The gay men. Let's not talk about the women because they dominate
Everything. I mean,
right.
sorry.
But gay men have not followed sports at the same degree as our lesbian women have. The other thing that I think is interesting for me is I have never watched Paralympics before, ever. I have never watched even 1 minute. This time I have watched a lot. In the first week, I watched a lot. And I was, to be honest with you, I was surprised how exciting it was. I watched lots of the swimming. And of course, that Toyota ad of the girl from Siberia that was adopted and lost her legs. And she's won 2 gold medals already.
That commercial makes me cry.
It was just absolutely astounding. And when she finished, and she raises her head above water, you have no idea because you don't see her legs. This is an American Olympic champion, and you have no idea that there's disability. And that's exactly the way it should be in terms of our representation. It's been an amazing experience to watch.
Most definitely. Now it's time to queer up the USA. Anti-gay hate crimes fell slightly in 2020, while anti-trans crimes rose, FBI says. The Uniform Crime Reporting Program's Hate Crime Statistics 2020 report found that 7,759 hate crime incidences were reported last year, up by 6% from 7,314 incidences in 2019. Although reports of hate crime incidents based on anti-LGBTQ bias were down overall from 1,393 in 2019 to 1,287 in 2020, reports of incidences motivated by gender identity bias jumped by nearly 20% for the second year in a row. Although hate crime incidences motivated by anti-trans bias appear to be increasing, advocates have said government data often don't tell the full story. This year is also on track to be the deadliest on record for transgender people, with at least 35 trans and gender nonconforming people having been killed so far, most of them Black trans women. According to the Human Rights Campaign, at this time last year, at least 29 trans people had been killed, according to the group.
This story makes me sad, and even on top of it, this data's crap. There's no way that they can really know. You know, most of the incidents go uncounted. You know, most of the people in our community, when something like this happens to them, they don't go to the cops. Most of us don't trust the cops, you know? So, I mean, this is a very sad story.
And it's just, what do you say to it? I mean, like, why does there always have to be some put down minority? Once one minority raises themselves up, okay, let's find the next poor group to just pick on. You know, why can't people just live their life?
And like, now it's Black and brown trans women.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know, I have a lot of, not a lot of friends, but some friends that say, why is it all about trans now? And it's
really?
like, this is, it's really shocking. It's like, this is why it's about trans, because they're the group that
they're
needs
the
to
most
be
marginalized. They're the
absolutely.
ones that are being killed.
I'm curious, Dan, the individual or the group of individuals that would ask you that question, are they in the LGBTQ community?
I've heard that too, also, from my experience of people talking to me, and with some of the films that we select. I'm not surprised that Dan said that. It is kind of an interesting topic.
To me, the most disappointing fact of this story is unless we can get our own community to stand up and support, we cannot possibly expect outside of our community to stand up and support. You know, there's this old adage that a speeding train that loses its brakes takes a long, long, long time to slow down. Well, the speeding train was the last 4 years under Donald Trump and the administration. It's going to take a long time to slow that down and Fox News. And unfortunately, I think this is a dark shadow of what we're watching that's going to tumble into the 22 midterm election and maybe the presidential election in 24, because the culture war that they're crafting likely is going to have great success. And to start with, if our own community doesn't stand up against it, they have no chance.
How can we expect them to?
Well, speaking of that, queer up trans rights. A trans march on Broadway is planned for September 6. Broadway World reports that Sis, an actress and activist in the theater community, is calling attention to the erasure of trans bodies within the theater and entertainment industries with the Trans March on Broadway this coming Monday, Labor Day, September 6, 2021, at 12 p.m. The location will not be announced until that morning. Guest speakers will be announced on social media via You Can Call Me Sis at her Twitter handle. The lineup is subject to change. The march has been planned in response to producer Cameron McIntosh, the most successful Broadway producer in history, and his comments regarding casting of trans performers as being gimmickry, which struck up a conversation within the theater community, including Alexandra Billings sharing on social media, quote, "I am an actor. Mr. McIntosh, not a gimmick," end quote.
So Cameron McIntosh probably put his foot in his mouth, like not wanting to. He said that to cast the lead in Mary Poppins, he wouldn't hire a trans actor because that wasn't how the story went. All right. Now, last I checked, an actor's an actor. So you are acting as someone you're not, right? So then why would it matter? Why would he say that?
And I think you're right. He just opened his mouth, didn't think what he was saying, and foot insert mouth. I mean, that's the reality. It's like saying, oh, okay, a gay man can play a womanizer, and the same thing, a straight guy can play a gay person. I mean, to your point, you are an actor and you're hired for a role, and hopefully you do the best that you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but the result is actually good, because this March, again, raises visibility, which is ultimately was going to combat the issue that we were just discussing.
It's interesting to me, and likely I haven't continued to follow Cameron McIntosh's comments, most successful producer in Broadway history, but you're in the Broadway community, in the heart of New York, in the heart of Midtown Manhattan. If there's one community you probably don't want to take on, it's the LGBTQ
That's
community.
the second gayest place on planet Earth right there.
Right here, behind us, it's Midtown Manhattan and the Broadway district, right, exactly.
So that is our queer headlines for today. Right now, let's catch up on the LGBTQ plus news surrounding COVID-19 with our special segment called Quarantine Quickies.
Queer News Tonight has reported on coronavirus on every episode since January 6, 2020. Tonight we report that as of today, more than 2,808,000 LGBTQ plus Americans have contracted COVID-19.
Queer News Tonight remembers the more than 46,000 LGBTQ plus Americans that have died from coronavirus.
But the news is improving because as of today, more than 370 million vaccination doses have been administered in the United States.
That is our pandemic news for tonight. Next, we report on our partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. We are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine in support of that partnership. Happening Out Television Network broadcasts the largest LGBTQ plus religious live broadcast in the world, as more than 30,000 watch every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Watch this.
My name is Lexi Goza of Lexi Goza State Farm Insurance in Midtown, Miami, Florida. I'm also a board member of the Aqua Foundation for Women and the chair of the Women's Empowerment Council for the Miami-Dade Gay and Lesbian Chamber. And Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
Well, we finished tonight's queer news headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ plus Flash News.
LGBTQ plus Flash News. Night of the Living Drag Tour takes the zombie apocalypse on the road. As New Now Next reports, RuPaul's Drag Race queens are going from untucked to the undead. The queens will be getting spooky, ooky, and kooky all around America when they embark on Voss Events' 10th annual Night of the Living Drag, the North American Halloween Tour. The fierce Night of Fright will be hosted by the Diva of Darkness, Violet Chachki, who will guide audiences through the untimely deaths of Drag Race favorites, Got Mick, Rosé, Season 10 winner Aquaria, Season 12 winner Jada Essence Hall, Alyssa Edwards, Candy Muse, Plastique, and Kimchi.
I love me a scary drag queen.
And I love me a zombie apocalypse. Put them together.
Yes, exactly. And I love Alyssa Edwards because her dance troupe is getting ready to make the finals in America's Got Talent. And I have to do a shout out real quick for Voss Events. We need producers like this to bring drag to the local community, not just national television shows. We really like Voss Events.
I can't wait for this. A lot of my faves, Alyssa Edwards, Candy Muse. I love all those girls. I can't wait.
LGBTQ plus Flash News. Trinity K. Bonet talks RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars. Spoiler alert, this special story from our partners at Hotspots has spoilers for the last episode of RuPaul's Drag Race. As episode 10 continues, where last week's reveal left off, we find out who the winner of the lip-sync battle between Silky Nutmeg Ganache and Eureka O'Hara was, and it was Eureka. Eureka gets to rejoin the show where she goes on to win the Maxi Challenge. And in the lip sync is Jada Essence Hall versus Trinity K. Bonet. Trinity gets sent home and then joins Hotspot Magazine's own Scott Holland for an interview about the experience. Get the entire interview in this week's Hotspot in stands today.
So did Bonet meet Holland at Target?
Right? Scott Holland, at our partner at Hotspots Magazine, does a great job in reporting on RuPaul's Drag Race and the Queens. If there's somebody that even is more deeply in it than me, it's Scott Holland.
I can't believe you guys spoiled this for me. I haven't seen this episode yet. Are you kidding? That's all I got.
No, I'm running out right after to get the latest issue. So.
Yeah.
LGBTQ plus flash news. Lil Nas X unveils Transcendent album cover for Montero. Just a day after trolling Drake with a fake album cover for Montero, Lil Nas X has revealed the real deal. And it is this. Stunning. Turns out the openly queer rapper's long-awaited debut won't feature 12 pregnant men emojis in a spoof of the artwork for his Canadian colleague's forthcoming album, Certified Lover Boy. On Twitter, Lil Nas X shared that the inspiration for the cover comes from the painting titled Genesis 2 by artist John Stevens, which depicts the completion of God's creation. In his tweet, Nas X reiterated the theme by quoting Genesis 2, verse 1 through 3. Open quote. Thus the heavens and the earth were completed in all their vast array. By the seventh day, God had finished the work he had been doing. So on the seventh day, he rested from all his work. End quote. The track list reveals collaborations with Elton John, Miley Cyrus, Megan Thee Stallion, and Doja Cat.
You know, we're watching in the gay community what we watched Madonna do in 1988. That burning cross and Like a Virgin, he does the exact same thing here, and he is creating worldwide attention by doing it. The self-proclaimed power bottom doing it. Wow.
Lil Nas X, please don't go Kanye on us. Please.
Well, you know, in the 90s, I also had a crush on Madonna, and now I have a crush on him.
Yes, absolutely.
And then, quite frankly, the Lil Nas knows how to call attention to his album, and I hope he gets a lot of press, and I've liked some of the singles on it.
He's going to get a lot of press.
So that is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show. Is our community important to you?
Then help us by liking and subscribing. Ring the bell for updates. Share this news with friends and family.
Post this broadcast in the many groups you are a member of. Tonight's stories about our community deserve the attention of your family and your friends.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support.
So if our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Happening Out Television Network and Queer News Tonight. I'm Al Ferguson, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Faye What? Dan Rios, and Victor Giminez. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. Good night.
Bye.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBT